Welcome to Dayton Superior Training Center. This session, we will discuss the use and application of the Fleet Lift lifting system for precast. Thank you for your time. This presentation is intended for training purposes only. For technical specifications for products mentioned in this training, refer to www.daytonsuperior.com. The fleet lifting system is a pre-engineered, easy to install, quick connect, disconnect system. No cables to cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 12-ton systems are available. The 12-ton, we have to have certified lifting clutches available. But basically, with a certified lifting clutch, we have a 1 to 3 ton, 4 to 6, and an 8 to 12. Three main components of this system are the anchor, and we're going to show a series of anchors that we have in the system. Some of them are going to be what we'll typically call a flat plate system. The other one will be a forged system, which is actually kind of replacing the flat plate system. We have recessed members, which are usable in either or situation, either with the punched flat plates material or the forged system. And then obviously the ring clutch, which will work obviously with both inserts, both types of inserts also. Some of the what we call flat plate, these are actually stamped out of steel and then have accessories welded to them, like in the P92P. We have a flat plate or a shear plate welded to it. You have your P92H erection anchor and a P92 erection anchor with a dowel pin running across. As you can see, all of these anchors have what we call an erection head anchor, which is right here. You can see how it has this shape to it. And the reason being is when the lifting hardware actually sets right down in there, it'll seat itself right into that opening and will not rock back and forth. This actually prevents a lot of spalling in and around where the recess void is located. The non-erection anchors that we have typically do not have that. A lot of these are used for such things that they're usually lighter duty, usually for like back stripping. And back stripping is where you will have a large panel that is going to be picked up from the precaster's bed. And so it can be carried out. So what they'll do is they will backlift it, carry it out, and then set it into place where they want to let it cure out. They have other lifters in place that will be used that will attach to it that they can actually attach to the lift and install the component piece. But here you can see we have a small T anchor. We have what we call a flat foot or a split foot. We also have a plate anchor. And then the L anchor, which is a light duty type anchor. All the lifting hardware is pretty similar. Here we have a P91, a P92 lifting clutch, and here's a cable bale with a clutch installed. The P91S ring clutch typically goes in very similar to like the Swift Lift run clutch, except this one here is not 360 degrees. This one here is what we call a directional lift. Typically, it runs usually north to south on the panel, or lateral or transversely across the panel, based on how they're going to be lifting it. This insert here, once it's in place here, the bale will rotate forward and backwards. You will have some ability to move laterally with the bale, but not a whole lot. Recess members. Like the Swiftless system, we typically have a urethane with a steel insert embedded in it that will actually clip in and around the opening on that flat plate. We have a heavy duty cast iron, and we have a plastic, fully plastic. It's a one-time, one and done type of setup. We have a shear bar application here, P98S. Typically, this was going to go for when you do an edge lift, and you have the anchor in place, and what you're looking at doing is dispersing the load along the edge of the concrete. So you're not picking just solely on the edge of that insert, as it will basically cut right through the concrete and actually pull itself out. So we talked, like I mentioned earlier, that we have the stamped version, which is the old flat plate design system. And we're kind of going to a forged unibody system now. And the forged unibody system looks very similar to the P92 FEW. Oh, it is that anchor, but that series of anchor. What it is that gives us a little bit stronger material in lieu of going from a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. We now go to 1 to 3 ton, then 4 to 6 ton, then 6 to 10, or 10 to 12 ton. So you're talking, the anchor itself is a stronger anchor, but because of cost differential, it's much more competitive in the marketplace. One of the biggest problems we had with this is, one, the inserts all come from China or overseas. Typically, when they come in from overseas, they come in a container. A lot of times they will be coated with rust because of the salt air that is mitigated into the container that the products was shipped in. When we bring the forge system in, the forge system typically has about 70% less rust on the component piece. Even though if the two pieces were in the same container, it would be 70% less rust on the stamped version, or on the forged version than the stamped version. Most of these inserts are going to be used for edge lifting. A lot of these are used in structural panel applications, similar to parking structures, building architectural facades, many bridge components, etc. So this is more of a structural lifting anchor. The P92 FEW, Gen 1 product came out here. We had a 3 ton, 6 ton, and 10 ton. As you can see, the component piece came in. One nice thing is it had the shear plate already attached to it, forged into it. So this, when they forged this product, that piece is actually what they call a unibody. Everything is one piece. There's no welds taking place here. We have since made a couple of changes to the Gen 2, And the Gen 2, there's no welds, obviously, no tension bar required. We did adjust the profile on the tail end of it to give it a little bit more robust anchoring capacity. And we actually increased and made the profile changes with um, a better head on it that has an erection style anchor head on it. So here we have analysis. We basically classify it as a forged erection anchor. As you can see with the new body design here, we have a little bit of a recess and then around the tail end of it with it before you get to the ball and anchor on, or the flat plate on anchor on the end of it. We have standard urethane lifting recess voids and lifting hardware. This insert right here replaced the P92P, and what you're looking at is now a 3-ton, 6-ton, and 8-ton versus a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So now you're going to be able to carry smaller inventory levels and possibly even reduce the number of inserts required to remove a precast segment. So here for the non-erection heads, we have our 2-ton, 4-ton, 8-ton, 2-hole erection anchor, which typically you will use a tension bar that will go through, a piece of number 4-3 rebar or a 375 wire that will go through that opening and be bent at about a 60-degree angle, or excuse me, a 30-degree angle, which will actually enable it to be an anchor, usually for like a thin wall application. These anchors work really well in that type of a situation, especially with the tension bar. We have also here these are all the anchors that we typically would use for a back strip. And you see, or a facelift anchor, what they would call here a facelift on some of them. Some of them would be called a back strip anchor. So we basically have a 1 to 3 ton, a 4 to 6 ton, obviously, and an 8 to 12 ton. And we would actually go from here with a P92S. It would replace any of the flat foots or split foot, whichever way you want to call it. The T-headed anchor would also be swapped out for going with a P94S. The P94S also is similar in design to the P140, which actually makes up our T110 insert, which is our workhorse for the tilt-up market. But that is the same anchor that is used, a 12-ton anchor that is used for the precast market. So here we have our P94S in place here. It's a one-piece uniform, has a hole for a shear bar or tension bar if needed. It's replacing the old flat foot type of material here. And you can see we can typically get anything up and around to 12,000 pounds. And we get up to actually, with 10 inches of concrete, we can actually get up to 20,000 pounds of tension with this product. Edge lifting sandwich panels. Sandwich panels are becoming more and more prevalent in today's marketplace. We're seeing various regions here around the country where tilt up and precast panels for building construction, such as Canada has now gone all tilt up projects in Canada pretty much go with insulated wall panels. And we see a lot of it going in with the precasters also for their precast panels projects that they've got. So now you've got to figure out how are you going to lift that component piece. So that piece actually comes in. We're going to use what we call a sandwich panel. The sandwich panel here is typically put into place. It spans over the insulation and uses a tension bar to go into both widths of concrete. And then enables you to pick into center of that insert so that when you're picking, you're now picking from both widths of the concrete, the structural and the fascia. Typically what you're also looking at here, we've decreased the footprint of this product, which means we have reduced the thermal bridging that could be prevalent within this insert. Here the insert is going in place. Here you see the P92 SF insert going in. This is a 50% higher capacity based off of concrete strength and thickness. So you're talking, you may end up flipping the panels, can be with 180 degrees fully dressed without a problem. So this insert actually enables you to possibly reduce the number of inserts that you're going to have to use on your edge lift. And also, as far as ease of installation, you're talking one insert with two tension bars to pick. As you can see here, we've got the layouts here of the inserts here. It's a 12. The insert comes in a 12-ton insert. You've got anchors going in place here. 4x4x3 insulated panel thickness is the minimum that we can do with that 12-ton anchor. But you're talking, you got 24,000 pounds in tension on this anchor, and the anchor itself will sit up in the insulation. And what will happen is most of that product is actually going to be outside of the affected work zone, because it'll be on the top of the panel, which typically will be above the roof line of the building. The one nice thing about the P92 PS is actually you can actually miter your corners. So when you get into a structure with mitered corners, this anchor will actually fill in where the standard anchor would not, because of the shape of it. You typically had to build a knockout so that you could actually have an area where you could attach the lifter and be plumbed to the surface of the concrete. With this insert, you basically go with the surface of the concrete, you turn it on the angle, insert your shear bars in place, your recess void in place, and then you can attach your lifting hardware. Typically on projects like this, where you've got a 45-degree miter, we recommend that you contact Dayton Superior Tech Service for job-to-job conditions, because every job is a little bit different. And you want to make sure that when you're lifting this, you don't pull out the anchor because of thin concrete within the project. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call at Chuck Hoke at DaytonSuperior.com, or you can contact me at training@DaytonSuperior.com. Thank you very much.